He's a class player across every format, and we've got Tom Moody here who says he's a good human being as well. That's always welcome. Nicholas Puran is another highly talented youngster. I'm glad that he's back in the fold of professional cricket here in the Caribbean. He had a few issues over the last year, and then I'm going to go down to Ravi Rampal. I think with his experience, he generally has done well in this format of the game, recently playing for Surrey in the UK. So those are key players for me, Lisa Staleka. Who are yours?
Well, the difference is that they haven't got Jamaica Tallawahs, don't have Chris Gale. So they've got to, again, have to rely heavily on the top of the order. So Lendl Simmons is going to be a key for them. He's been in and out of injury, but the fact that he's got that explosive ability, he's certainly going to be the key. And then the captain, Kumar Sangakkara, he's been playing cricket everywhere at the moment, obviously in England and been performing well. Shakib Hasan will provide that stability with the ball as well as the batter. And then I'm going to go back to Kesrick Williams. He picked up 17 wickets last year, was certainly a key for the Tallawahs, and again will be the key.
Yeah, I like that. I like that last selection. Kesrick Williams, he flies under the radar sometimes, but he's quicker than you think. He's got lovely variations, bowls some wonderful cutters, and is enjoying his international experience with the West Indies. First in T20s, now in 50 overs, and the umpires make their way out to the middle. And just don't know what your thoughts were from the captains at the toss, but the music was blaring, and the rhythm sections have been going out there. It's been fun and laughter just for that one period a year for expats from the Caribbean here, but the pitch has been a slightly lower one.
Yeah, it certainly has, and we saw that in the first game, the fact that the ball wasn't coming on as well. Obviously when the ball is new and hard, and they were able to extract that pace and bounce early on. They were able to actually hit the ball to all parts, and then as the ball got older, it became difficult. So I like the fact that the team has won the toss and they've elected to bat. I think runs on the board is going to be crucial, given the fact that the wicket, will start to play into the team bowling second.
Gidron girls having a good time with it, and that sort of contradicts with, I suppose, when you win a game as a winning captain, you're more inclined to embellish things a bit. Chris Gale said it was a good wicket. Martin Guptill said it was a bit slow. Kumar Sangakkara and Pollard said it's slow.
Yeah. So Chris Gale can say what he wants, but I think we all agree that the wicket was slow, and and the score showed that as well. That was the other thing. It wasn't like they chased down the 124, within 12 overs. It came down to, I think, the 18th over, 19th over. So, again, the wicket's going to play an important role. I think players need to adapt. They need to spend time in the middle. The more time that you're there, then the ability to work the ball around. But we may not see the 4s and 6s, but we should see a lot more 2s. So hopefully both teams have been able to watch a bit of the first game and learn from it.
Interesting to see how the Barbados Tridents opening pair go about their work. Umpires already positioned in the middle. The Tallawahs look unready, a little bit tardy in getting out to the middle. The reserve umpire is just giving them the old hustle up. Someone's a little bit late onto the field. They're going to have their customary huddle, I assume. Jonathan Fu and company have joined the huddle in Santokie, another one of the umpires. Samir Bandekar of the USA. Oh, great to see one of the umpires from the old US of A, from Dallas, here with us in the CPL.
Very good. And Johan Kloit from South Africa.
Yeah, good man, Johan Kloiter. He very affable. He was in here a little bit earlier. He will always do that. He will always come in. He will have a chat. He very, very level, generally.
Well, I actually got a chance to, there's a few ICC Americas umpires in there learning the trade, and he was talking through everything that he does. He was the third umpire in the first game of how he scores, the different coloured pens, and then obviously getting ready for the fact that he was going to be officiating the second game and getting everything sorted for when he's on the field and talking through everything. So it just made me realise how much work the umpires do without us even knowing. It's similar to everyone here on the ground that makes this coverage really special. Everyone does so much work behind the scenes.
How much money have they paid you to say that?
None, actually, but maybe I should have a bonus in my contract.
They'll love you for forever, the umpires. Now Alicia has made friends with the umpires. Get them on her side. Right, down to business, the biggest party in sport. And into the second game of the doubleheader. Dwayne Smith back with the Barbados Tridents this year. Kumar Sangakkara leading the Tallawahs. Had a wonderful season for Surrey in the UK across all forms of the game. Why is he not playing international cricket? Surely still good enough. Dwayne Smith, so important to this Tridents team.
Yeah, it is an interesting question. I guess, you know, only he can say it, but sometimes if you've reached everything and you've achieved all you want, you know, there's
no,
a
I
point.
don't know about reaching and achieving everything. I don't.
No, but from a training perspective, you know, a big commitment away from your family for long periods of time. At least these shortened tournaments allows him to spend more time with his family. So, yeah, but it's great to have him here. I think that's the exciting part.
Smith and Kane Williamson will be opening the batting. The New Zealand captain, Kane Williamson. And he will look to bat a high proportion of these overs. He's got deceptive power and a good deflector of the ball. Let's count this thing down and get it going. Thank you very much to you wherever you're watching this game from, across the Caribbean region, across the US, across the world. Thank you very much for your valuable time, and we hope it's an entertaining contest for you. Krishmar Santokie will start things off for the Tallawahs, one of the leading wicket takers in the history of this format in the Caribbean. Only Dwayne Bravo has more wickets than he has in this format.
Well, and he's moved across, hasn't he, this year from St Kitts Nevis Patriots. So a new club, new franchise for him.
And pushing the ball across, I don't think he can bring it back on the spin, not for long anyway. So I assume a lot of it will be going from leg to off to Smith. Surprising that he has actually chosen this end, because he usually hoops the ball back into the right-hander.
Yeah, and we saw Cottrell, didn't we, in the first game? He came from the other end, so the northern end, not the pavilion end.
First saw him as a West Indies under-15 player in the Coscutter Cup in the UK. That's going back some now, Santokie. Was that 2000 as the Tridents are on the way? I'm trying to go back to what year that was. It 2000. I think it was when the West Indies actually won that championship with Ravi Rampal and the Dinesh Ramdin and players like that in that lineup. And he came into the West Indies squad in this format and was brilliant. Bowled a nice Yorker, really good pace off the ball, but has had a lot of injuries to his legs.
Seems to be the case, doesn't it, for the fast bowlers? At some point injury starts to catch up and then they start to pick a format that they can cope. Would you have played T20 cricket?
Big time. I'm not sure how good I would have been at it, but I would have been trying to play it effectively. Nice line. The thing to watch with Santokie, if for some reason you're seeing him for the first time, is particularly when he comes back later on. slightly low arm at times, and he can bowl quite a few cutters and take pace off the ball quite beautifully.
He doesn't seem a very tall bowler.
He isn't.
Okay, great. I might want to interview him then. I'm fed up with these tall bowlers that I have to stretch my arm up for.
So am I.
But I think also the action really does highlight that as well, because he comes really round arm and he seems quite low. And we get a chance to have a look. He really collapses as well, and then comes around. So you see back leg goes down, and he doesn't explode over the front of that top leg, which you tend to see against the quick bowlers, tend to kind of catapult themselves over. That's why he gets that shape, because of that round arm action as well. So it'd be nice if we get to see him the other end, wouldn't it? Just to see if he's be able to extract a bit more swing. Use the wind that you love talking about.
It's always here. He's always here. That's a sledge. Lisa's just told me don't talk about the wind anymore.
No, it's an important factor, but see, as a spinner, I don't necessarily look at the wind factor, except if it's coming into my face.
Oh, dropped it. Has he put it down? Krishmar Santokie didn't look that difficult. One without loss.
It never...
Introducing new Control GX, the shampoo that reduces grey gradually. The more you...
Go for it, goggles! Order now online at Just Eat.
Right, so I understand now why Santokie chose the end that he chose, because Imad Wasim will be sharing the new ball with him. And Imad Wasim historically bowls that arm ball, if you want to call it a finger ball, it really is an arm ball that slides back into the right-handed batsman from off the leg in particular, and he tries to bowl wicket to wicket. Very seldom do you see him with the new ball trying to actually spin it. I think it is a good variation when he does it, but mostly wicket to wicket with a long on and a deep mid wicket.
Well, Bish, we were commentating in the Women's World Cup, and all of the left arm spinners, they all had the arm ball. They never really tried to turn it. They all wanted to kind of cramp up those right-handed batters.
It's a slow pitch. It's so slow as
and Chris
well.
Gale said it's fine.
Probably
but
fine.
yes.
Fine for him because he's got some power even though he didn't fire. But you really do need some muscle on this surface to really get that ball like Carlos Brathwaite did. Oh, inside edge, was it?
This is a good example of the ball just sliding into the right-hander. And thankfully, is able to get the inside edge. Smith. This is the chance, the last ball of the last over. So he actually thought, it looked like he thought the ball was going to come to him, and in the end it died the last minute. It's a tough one, but it goes down as a drop. Bad luck, sorry.
I think the advantage he had is that his follow-through would have been taking him into the path of the ball rather than against his momentum. So I think his expression says it all, that he felt that was a good chance that he had. Remember, after the first game against India in the Champions Trophy, a lot of people criticised Sarfaraz for having Imad Wasim use the new ball. But I think that was a lack of understanding of how effective and how good he can be with the new ball, even in the 50-over format as opposed to T20.
It's all about utilising the conditions, isn't it? It's two for none.
A conservative beginning by the Barbados Tridents. How much is enough? How much is enough when you bat first? I think over 70% of captains, given a choice in the last year, have chosen to field first in T20s. Kieron Pollard said he chose to bat first because it's a slow pitch, it will only get slower, and so he went against what has become the norm almost in terms of not chasing. Santokie again. He will only take more and more pace off the ball as this game goes on.
Yeah, certainly looked like one of his slower deliveries as well. And it seems to be effective as well if you get the right length, that it just holds up in the wicket. If he had thrown it first off, it would have been close. In the end, he held it for a little bit longer.
Should be a couple for Smith. In fact, more than that. Wow, what timing. I thought that either of mid-wicket or maybe the short backward square would have gotten to it. It was beautifully timed, better than I thought.
Yeah, initially when it came off the bat, you just thought, yeah, that's 2 runs. But it just shows how quick this outfield is as well. And his timing and placement. Certainly the key, just straying in his line there. Again, trying to take the pace off and missing it and costing dearly.
Gets it through, and it will be 4. Back-to-back boundaries for Dwayne Smith.
Always the way, isn't it, from a bowling perspective? You bowl one down leg side, so you make the adjustment. This time he goes too wide on the offside. Bowls with a bit more pace as well. Isn't one of his slower deliveries, and it allows Dwayne Smith to really throw his hands at the ball. Too wide on the offside. Did so well. Bowls with a bit more pace as well. Isn't one of his slower deliveries, and it allows Dwayne Smith to really throw his hands at the ball.
And he does bowl a straight
so
line,
well.
and deep mid-wicket will come in and take that. So he has to bowl a straight line apparently, because there's a long on and deep mid-wicket.
And the previous delivery is seam up, that one.
He does bowl a straight line,
seam.
And deep mid-wicket will come in and take that.
Again, showing his repertoire. And the previous delivery is seam up, that one. Something that cross seam. Most batters will try and see as well as how they put the ball into the hand. Can they pick up any clues to help them? You know, that's something that we're lucky. Most batters get to see it nice as well as how they put the ball into the hand. Can they pick up any clues to help them?
I think the thing for me,
we're lucky we get to see it nice and close.
With someone like a Santokie and the Lasset Malinga, for example, is because they've got such a low arm. I think they can hold the ball in an orthodox as if seam up position. Someone like a Santokie and the Lasset Malinga, for example, is because they've got such a low arm. Fingers down. They can hold the ball in an orthodox, what you call the outside of the ball if a right hand is on strike, rather than it's trying to drag the fingers down at the point of release, to drag the fingers down or leg cutter fashion. So what you call the outside of the ball if a right hand is on strike, rather than trying to drag the fingers down in a leg break. Oh, he got away with that. A tickle with pace on the ball to fine leg could have been 4. 11 off the over.
Nivea Man Protect and Care gives you protection from dirt, protection from sweat, protection from dry skin, protection from everything. Well, almost. Nivea Man Protect and Care. Right. Ultimate protection from everything.
I sold with WeBuyAnyCar.com because I value my time more than a few extra quid.
Enter your reg number now at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
It's a good question. What is a target score? What is a minimum? If I superimpose myself out there in Kieron Pollard's lineup, if I can get to 150, I think I'd be pleased with a minimum of that. Key is how. Do you go the old-time way of wickets in hand because it's a conservative start?
Yeah, I don't think it's wicket in hand because it's difficult for the new batsman to come out just because it's a slower wicket. So I think it's important that the players that are in, they've got to go big. Unless you've got someone like a Carlos Brathwaite down the order.
Yeah, some players, because of the conditions, and that's why I asked the question, would say, well, we've already heard one player say the new ball is the easiest time to bat. I think it was Chadwick Walton. But they haven't gone hell for leather here in 3.2 overs so far. Gets it through this time. Nice, easy movement of the feet from Williamson.
Well, one thing I like about Kane Williamson is the fact that he's quite a traditional batsman. It doesn't matter what format he's playing, he still plays the correct technical shots for that type of delivery. He's not big with his inventions, he just plays good cricket shots.
And that's what Imad Wasim wants, isn't he? I mean, you go back to the boundary 2 balls ago, he took it from, I suppose it was just on or just outside off stump. But Imad Wasim wants him to try to make room. Brilliantly bowled.
And that's why I also think Kane Williamson is going to be the key for this side to score a decent total, because he's a smart cricketer. He'll find ways of adapting to that wicket.
Miss hit and lands in safety. It's 19 without loss.
So a slowish start by the Barbados Tridents. Just 19 coming off the first 4 overs, but they haven't lost a wicket. And that's certainly the key.
The thing as you go through the islands, as we get back down into the Caribbean, you'll see all sorts of costumes, and this guy is certainly a candidate for the hero fan of the match. Now that takes some creativity.
I like it. Who is he going for? What's the flag in his hand?
Guyana. Obviously an Amazon Warriors fan who was here for the earlier game.
So he just thought he'd stick around and
take in the double header.
Yeah, why not?
Mohammad Sami. Dropped it. It was an opportunity that should have been taken. He ran in too quickly. Kesrick Williams it is, and pushed it over the bar.
That's one thing I've been a little bit disappointed with today, is the fact that we've seen so many simple catches go down, and you can put this one as well to the tally. It got on him really quickly. He thought he had plenty of time, and as he raced in, it suddenly got bigger and bigger. And before he knew it, it hit his hands pretty hard.
36-year-old Mohammad Sami. It's hard to understand why he pushed in so much from deep backward square leg at that opportunity.
I just get a sense that they're not picking up the ball very well, their initial movements, and we've even saw some really good catches, but their foot movement towards the ball, they were second guessing where did it come from. So whether they're losing it in the background a little bit, I'm not sure. That's maybe something we could ask the players after the match.
Sami still keeps himself very fit, still sharp in pace. never really fulfilled his talent at an international level.
Talking about drop catches, this is the first one, a tough one. And Kane Williamson, maybe he should buy a lottery ticket. 2 drops. Important now for him to really go on. Just 10 off 15 deliveries. So this would have been a good over if they were able to pick up a wicket that first ball. Instead it went for 4. So you, as a bowler, you kind of chase your tail, don't you? As soon as the first couple of deliveries find the boundary, your job at the top of the innings is to create those wicket-taking wicket opportunities, and unfortunately his fielders just didn't back him up.
Should be just one, and just a reminder of viewers what we have in line for them today. You've got Nicholas Pooran, Kieron Pollard, Wayne Parnell is here as well. Ravi Rampal is back from Surrey. Wahab Riaz, who left the Champions Trophy after the first game, he is here. Rovman Powell for the Tallawahs, a good up-and-coming young talent in the Caribbean. Christopher Barnwell out of Ghana, also involved today. Just going along at 5 and over. The Barbados Tridents, 26 without loss.
There you go. It's a warm day here, but it doesn't bother the dancers. The energy is amazing here for the CPL, the Hero Caribbean Premier League for 2017. We got 2 double headers here in Fort Lauderdale, and right now it's the Tridents who are batting. They won the toss. Kumar Sangakkara, the Tridents skipper, said we'll have a bat first. And it's going to be Kesrick Williams, right arm medium fast. A couple of chances have gone the Tallawahs' way. We're looking at the Tallawahs, who are the defending champions. Here goes Kesrick Williams. Tom Moody's alongside me. Mooch, you know Kane Williamson, you know the way he constructs an innings on a pitch like this where you have to work hard. He almost looks like your ideal man.
Yeah, look, he'll appreciate that it's going to be challenging at times. He doesn't have the power game that Dwayne Smith has at the other end, but he'll look to accumulate his runs with 1s and 2s and make sure he really puts the strike, back into Smith's hands.
Smith, powerful. Has he got enough on this? He thinks he has. It's 4.
And that's a really good example because he didn't time that at all, but because he played it with a great deal of power and he's got that strength behind it, he managed to bully it through the infield.
Big muscular blacksmith's arms, aren't they? Like an anvil there, and he really smashes that.
Yeah, you can see that hitting that upper top edge of the bat, didn't it? It wasn't right out of the meat of the bat.
Amazing though. $50 on his back for Dr. Smith, Dr. Smith, Dwayne Smith. Made a century on his test debut in Cape Town many moons ago. Yeah, he's got a great arm swing and powerful. Well bowled. Good call from Williamson. He wants the single.
And what is interesting, thumbs up from Smith, and that's the point I want to make. What is interesting is both these players have played against each other a lot, but they haven't played together. So just getting that communication in the early parts of their innings and building that relationship of understanding of, yes, you know, good call, you know, I wouldn't have really been looking for a one there, but, you know, understanding what each other are looking for, the tempo that each other are trying to go at. And Kane Williamson will be looking for as many of those cheeky singles as possible.
Oh, Kane Williamson will feel missed out there.
It's a good example of what we talked about there, about Smith cutting the ball and bullying it through the infield. Like Smith would have club that, where Kane Williamson's a wonderful cutter of the ball, but he relies on the pace of the ball and he just knocks it on the head against trying to really force it. Williamson was trying to go behind square, so he play it late and go behind square, use the pace of the ball, where Smith was clubbing it in front of square.
Short and out. Just got a little bit big on him and he tried to work it leg side. That one's gone in the book. I'll just log that one and put it in my pocket. That is a wonderful El Dorado celebration.
Well, it's a well thought out celebration, you can guarantee that. It's a big wicket. Kane Williamson on debut here, the Caribbean Premier League. He goes cheaply. He'll be disappointed with that start. Goes for 13. And it's 32 for 1.
Look at that. So easy. That's what you call a confident penalty. Reel him in. Oh, he's a big one as well. Unbelievable. And so's this. Make sure you put it back, though. Available from App Store and now Google Play. When the fun stops, stop.
One international captain is gone, and another one who has captained his country. Shoaib Malik is in. Plenty of batting in this Tridents lineup. Shoaib Malik from Pakistan. Well, Shakib Al Hasan boots. He is the #1 in the ICC Test all-rounder rankings and #1 in the ICC ODI rankings. It's just been a wonderful player, and in the emergence of Bangladesh as one of the top sides, especially in ODI cricket. Got to the semi-finals, of course, of the Champions Trophy. They got some mighty fine players. Good for the game, isn't it?
Oh, it's wonderful.
Spreads the spoils.
Yeah, it does. And we talked earlier today about the great story with Afghan cricket and what's happened with some of the players out of Afghanistan. We've got 2 of them playing in the CPL this year, in Rashid Khan, the leg spinner, and Mohammad Nabi, the off-spinning all-rounder.
Here's another thing, Moods. I've sold him short. He's number 1 at the ICC T20. Sold him short. He's number 1 at the ICC T20 all-rounders, so he's got all 3. Shakib. 1-1-1.
Yeah, that's pretty useful. You want him on your side. They missed a very obvious one there. That's a dead set one. But not this time. So 1 to finish the over. It's a good one. Only 4 coming from it. It's 36 for 1. So a steady start from these 2. Only just over 5 and over, but most importantly, Smith is not out on 20. And just over 5 and over, but most importantly, Smith is not out on 20. And just recently been joined by Shoaib Malik. They'll be looking to increase the tempo of this innings, this pair. But they're under pressure, and everyone's under pressure out there. One of our cameramen there is cooling down in great style. Nice cold water being splashed over his face, or he's doing himself. That'll make you feel better, Wayne. Enjoy it. Later in the day, it might be a beer. Or why not an Eldorado?
Oh, that's a hard-working cameraman right there.
Williams is continuing. He's had a lot of success for the Tallawahs. He's one of the reasons they had the success last year and in winning the championship. Very effective bowler. They tend to use him a couple up front, you know, and 2 at the end of the innings. And they use these 2 at the end of the innings. He's very, very useful with his change of pace. His Yorkers are very good. Can be a real handful. And he's a character too, Wilco. He's one of the real characters. We've seen one of his celebrations, but you can guarantee over the next few weeks we'll see him dancing and doing all sorts.
Looking forward to it.
Oh, no, he's good. And he can doing all sorts.
Looking forward to it.
Oh, no, he's good. And he can dance, unlike you. And me.
I'm going to say, Moots, you can't put yourself in that list.
I'm certainly no twinkle toes. But he is. Trust me, he can move.
Bit of bottom hand comes into the shot, but you know what? It's going to work. It doesn't matter. And Dwayne Smith gives it a belt, and he's muscular, he's strong.
Well, this is a really good example of the cricket bats this day and age. They've got thick, broad edges, an off-cutter, slower ball. It was swatted to the leg side, but it was more inside edge than the middle of the bat. But because of the width of the edges of these bats, it still has enough will the leg side, but it was more inside edge than the middle of the bat. But because of the width of the edges of these bats, it still has enough willow behind it to find the boundary. We were talking about dancing.
Yeah, some are gifted, some are not. It's, well, you know, Ian Bishop.
Oh, I'm not surprised. Is he still ballroom dancing?
He's got all the moves. Bish the dish, they called him.
Oh dear.
He's a ballroom. He's everything. He's got the Trinidad. You know, he's got What do they call the dancing in Trinidad? Bish, what do they call the dancing in Trinidad? Bish. Bish, come on.
I think it's yeah. Look, it's what we can't do. It's it's not ballroom dancing. Put it that way.
No. But we got a long way to go. He's easing himself into the tournament, Bish. So by the time we get round to Trinidad, he'll be like the full repertoire. Man of many talents.
Yeah.
Now Bish was talking about ballroom dancing, and this is Kesrick Williams. Last year, showing us the moves. We should have a dancing competition. We should have a dancing competition.
Yeah, we had one last year where members of the public would show their wares during the drinks break, and we saw some extraordinary performances. Well, that's one way to protect yourself from the sun. Have the long socks.
Slashed away. It's the end of the over. 8 gone, 44 for 1.
Introducing new Control GX, the shampoo that reduces grey gradually. The more you shampoo, the less grey you have. Control GX from Just for Men.
I sold with WeBuyAnyCar.com because I value my time more than a few extra quid.
Enter your reg number now at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
Stowford Press tastes so good because we're from picking to pressing to pouring. 100% local home-pressed apples.
This is the second match today here in Fort Lauderdale. And earlier we saw the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots beat the Guyana Amazon Warriors for the first time in the Caribbean Premier League. And here, Barbados Tridents have won the toss. The skipper, Kumar Sangakkara. Pollard won the toss, and the Tridents are batting here. Now, Tridents. What's a good score? What's a good score on this pitch?
I think 150. I think if you can get to 150, you.
Who we first saw, those of us who were with the ICC Under-19 World Cup in the United Arab Emirates in 2014. Strike rate is an extraordinary 170. He scored one of the best knocks I've ever seen at that level. 143 was against the Australians. At under-19 level, Nick Poran looked absolutely magnificent. And Shakib just hurries one through. This is where Shakib Al-Hasan is such a dangerous bowler. He can vary his pace, and look at the grip on the ball. He really does get a bit of rip. Oh.
It's raining in Wales, isn't it?
Hasn't stopped since about April.
You should go back, maybe.
I've only just come. Imad Wasim has become a very dependable bowler.
Yeah, he's good, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He just knows what he's doing with the ball.
Yeah, he is good.
And look at this move. Quietly between them, 4 overs of left-arm spin have yielded just 16 runs. And the 1 wicket, Smith.
Come on. It would be interesting to see how
Blonde in cinemas August 9th.
It's the weekend. What do you really want to